morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm great.
Yes, we're going to go jump out of this plane.
We are.
It's a beautiful day here.
It's beautiful.
First time jumping?
It is.
Jumping out of a perfectly good airplane is a beautiful thing. Of course, it's not the most natural thing in the world to do.
Maybe sit. Tiny bit.
All you have to do is get that first jump out of the way. Amy Smallman from Byron Bay has finally decided it's time to tandem, and it was no easy decision. But today is the day. She is ready.
Let's go.
There are over 130 drop zones in Australia, with thousands of licensed skydivers regularly taking to the skies. It's a hugely popular sport, and it's all about fun in the air and on the ground. But when it comes to competition, it's time to get serious. Well, sort of. This year, the best competitive skydivers in the country descended upon York in Western Australia for the 2017 National Parachuting Championships. It's a massive event. The success here means entry to the World Games and the World Championships next year. In March, this usually sleepy outback town, 90 minutes east of Perth, was the setting for the national competition. It's a legendary drop zone with spectacular views, but that's not the only reason. It's also home to one of only 2 purpose-built canopy flying ponds in the country. It was 5 days of action high above the outback. Free fallers, freestyle, wingsuit flyers, and in a brand new event, speed skydiving. But it was the canopy piloting that brought the action and excitement a lot closer to the ground. Records were broken, and along the way a few bones as well. When you're pushing yourself and your canopy to the limit, it's a fine line between pleasure and pain. This is the most dedicated group of skydivers in the country. They devote their lives to the sport, and here's why.
To put the experience of skydiving into words is probably best described as something that you can't put into words.
To a skydiver, that makes perfect sense.
Once you've done it, then you'll understand. That's just my honest answer there. I can't tell you. You just have to find out for yourself.
Another glowing endorsement. In skydiving, actions speak louder than words.
Got to give it a go, really, to figure that one out. The feeling's awesome. You know, you're actually free.
Here at Skydive Byron Bay, Amy Smallman is good to go for her very first tandem skydive. As the aircraft makes its slow ascent to exit altitude at 12,000 feet, Amy is still smiling. But when it comes to her time to go, she freezes and refuses to make the exit. Feeling beaten, Amy and her tandem instructor take the slow route down on the aircraft.
I cried and I said that I didn't want to do it, and I came back down in the plane absolutely devastated and disappointed with myself. I'm doing this.
But that disappointment didn't last. Half an hour later, after a little encouragement, Amy's confidence has returned and she's back on board.
Here we go. We got take 2, baby. Oh my God, the thrill. It was the best thing I've ever done.
We did it, guys! We did it!
I'm so proud of myself. It was something that I've really wanted to do for a long time.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
You know, having a few issues the last 12 months in life as well. Jumping out of that letting go of. Oh, it's an achievement.
Let's go do it again.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And there it is. Just like that, Amy's perspective on life has changed forever.
Guys, we did it!
No matter how long you've been around, no matter how old you are, you can never repeat your first jump and you can never, ever forget it. Your first is your first and it's the most marvellous thing.
John Godwin has been skydiving for over 46 years, with more than 6,000 jumps. And the method of teaching the sport has changed a bit in that time.
And of course, in those days, there was no tandems. Practice how to land a parachute by rolling your body on the ground, jumping from a 44-gallon fuel drum, and that was it.
John and his wife Giselle have always loved flying. They both spent a career as flight attendants. These days, you'll find them at the Byron Bay drop zone.
We really enjoy coming down here and helping the guys and things like that. It keeps us, I think it keeps us young.
It does indeed. It's a pretty darn good thing to be able to do in this day and age, to do it for real, pure body flight. You're totally free between heaven and earth.
Actually, people come down and go, I love that so much, I want to go back up and do another one.
Real freedom is skydiving on your own, but to do that you need a licence. After the break we meet two sisters who have signed up to do the accelerated freefall course, the first step in becoming a qualified skydiver. And you could say they're a little nervous.
Didn't get much sleep because it was like obviously jumping out of a plane tomorrow, and it's like, yeah, no, tossing and turning all night, had it on my mind the whole time.
Sisters Megan and Brittany Lewis have been caught up in the parachuting scene for years, both working for Archie Jamieson at Gold Coast Skydive. But until recently, neither of them had ever jumped.
Jumping today? Yeah.
It wasn't until August 2015 that the girls had a calling.
I got a call from my dad saying, hey, like, the house is on fire, you get home now. So you were working as well, and then just ran out of work. It was like crazy. Driving home and you could like see the smoke and you're just like, who's in the house? My family, all right? Like.
Thankfully the family was safe, but they all lost everything. The girls' outlook was changed forever. A year and a half later, the girls have been making the most of every day, inspired by Archie and the other Gold Coast skydivers.
Like, you see so many people settle into their lives of just going to work, paying the bills, doing that boring, everyday thing. It's like, you could wake up one day and have no house, it's burnt to the ground, you lose everything except like the clothes on your back that day, so it's like, why not?
So Megan and Brittany signed up to become fully qualified and licensed to skydive.
So this is the front of the parachute.
Chief instructor Archie Jamieson took the girls through the accelerated freefall course for the entry-level A certificate.
So as the canopy's inflating, all the lines are spreading out, and that pushes the slider down the lines.
The AFF course explains in detail the theory and practical aspect of skydiving. Body flight, canopy control, navigation, landing and safety are some of the lessons of the course, and Archie uses a wind tunnel to fast-track the girls.
We do 30 minutes in the wind tunnel before we let them loose in the sky, and that's essentially 30 jumps worth of free fall.
Archie's first skydive was the most terrifying thing he's ever done.
One, I couldn't believe I could be that scared and live, so I went back and did another one. And then I thought, oh, well, I may as well do the course and do some free fall. And by the time I'd finished that, the terror started to go away and really started to enjoy it.
It's a very common and normal way to feel for a first-time jumper. Here at Toogoolawah, a couple of hours north of Brisbane, it's almost time for Megan and Brittany's first solo skydive.
Didn't get much sleep because it was like obviously jumping out of a plane tomorrow, and it's like, yeah, no, tossing and turning all night, had it on my mind the whole time. Hardly ate, had no appetite, totally nervous the last few days.
Slight bend in the knees and go. Nice, Britters. Keep your eyes open, Bob.
Obviously there's that little bit of doubt. It's like, are you going to be able to do this? Like, what am I actually doing? Like, this is idiotic.
All right, so nice big deep breaths, all right? Just think about your procedures, think about what you're going to do, what's your next step, all right? You're going to be absolutely fine. We've got radio, we've got everything. Don't worry, it's locked.
Thumbs up, good to go. The 6 stages in any skydive are exit, free fall, height awareness, canopy deployment, canopy flight, and landing. During the AFF Core Stage 1 solo jump, students have 1 or 2 jump masters within reach to guide them through the initial brain overload and monitor their in-air performance. After exiting the aircraft, it's crucial to check the altimeter, the height above the ground level. Then follows a controlled and even descent, regularly checking the altimeter until it's time to wave off and deploy the canopy.
Keep a close eye on it if they haven't pulled by a certain time, and we've got checks for them on the way down, so we get a bit of a heads up as to whether or not they're onto it. Once they're open, let's locate the drop zone and we'll talk them down from there.
Ground crews direct them in by radios strapped to their helmets.
All the way down, all the way down.
Yeah, good roll. Awesome.
Megan and Brittany both make textbook landings.
Congratulations. First one on your own.
Stage 1 down, 8 more to go, and the girls will have their Certificate A.
Well, honestly, that was like the best thing I've ever done in my whole life, hands down. Yeah, I'm speechless really, I can't really say much, but yeah, no. There's a little tear in there. Is there? It happened.
Emma!
Oh my God, how good was that? Can you even?
Can't even.
Can't even. Can't even.
Yeah.
Just want to go straight back up, hey? Yeah.
The sky's literally the limit for those guys. I think they'll follow through and going to become fantastic skydivers.
Maybe even as good as this one day. After the break, mad swooping and canopy control like you've never seen it before. This is Ronnie Perry, coach of the Australian skydiving team. He's mentor to a rare breed of daredevil skydivers. These guys are the Canopy Pilots, or swoopers. For the swoopers, it's not about the free fall. It's all about speed, control and precision under the canopy.
Probably the most exciting discipline to watch for the spectators, all the ones in skydiving, because it happens on the ground. You can see the whole cycle from packing to getting in the plane. You can see the guys exiting, you can see the canopies opening, you can hear them opening. And from opening to landing, within a couple of minutes, you've got some fast action on the ground.
The goal of the canopy piloting competition is to challenge the performance of the pilot and the canopy. This 50-metre pond is the swoopers' playing field. It's 1 metre deep and it's there as a safety measure, but also for the competitive events. At this year's Nationals, the canopy piloting competition is comprised of 3 events: speed, accuracy and distance. In the distance event, the pilot must pass through the inflatable gates, drag the surface of the water and continue on within the boundaries of the course. In the accuracy event, the pilot must pass through the inflatable gates and achieve a precise landing while dragging the water surface through as many of the water gates as possible. And in the speed event, the pilot must pass through 2 sets of inflatable gates. The first at the head of the course, over the water, and the second at the other end of the swooping course. The speed is recorded by radar.
Some of the guys been clocked at 100, 120, 130k an hour. But yeah, it's super fast and you wouldn't want to get hit by them.
At this year's event, Coach Ronnie Perry is looking for the best canopy pilots to take to the World Championships.
If you spend just a touch more time in the turn, it might give you like that 3-second rollout that we're looking for.
Qualifying for the competitive canopy piloting takes many thousands of jumps, and when it's done right, the crowd will let you know.
Nice one, Big B.
You spend enough time watching it, you know when someone's not going to have a good time, and you definitely know when someone is pulling something off that's just like magic to watch. And you occasionally hear them flying across the ground going yahoo and being quite happy with everything. Yeah.
When you're tracking off from your jump, you just can't wait for your wing to open and start flying that as well. It's definitely your lower end of your safety zone, so to speak, but you know, that's why we do the camps and get coaching and things like that.
At this year's Nationals, Callum Hunter had to dump his canopy mid-air.
So that was fun. And the canopy opened up and about 5 or 6 line twists. Tried to get out of the line twists, put the groups together and try and kick out, but then it just started diving at the ground and nowhere to recover from there, so cut away to the reserve and on the ground, safe, no dramas.
Most importantly, buy beer.
For Callum, it was a bit of a stroll into the bush to retrieve his main parachute.
All right. That's all right. You get that. Happy days.
Back in the air, another twist, this time for Nathan Potter.
As the canopy opened, I was loading the harness unevenly, which caused it to turn, and then when I came back under it, I spun under the canopy. It's something that you can train for, and we were quite high. I think we left the aircraft at about 7,000 feet, so I had a fair bit of time to sort that one out.
As he is falling out of control, Nathan swings his legs to spin his body and untwist the canopy. After a few turns, he regains control and lands safely. Malfunctions are part of skydiving, and all skydivers are well trained in how to identify and rectify a malfunction. The swoopers' canopies have high-tech aerodynamic design. They are very small and extremely nimble. The canopy is a perfect example of how skydiving has evolved over time. Rob McMillan is the godfather of canopy piloting in Australia.
So this is a Stiletto 135, and this is what I originally started swooping on, and many other people did as well in the late 90s.
As canopy sizes came down, the speed and dynamic manoeuvring capability went up.
It's all about small, fine, controlled movements. It's just a very, very, very tiny, small movement to make these things do what they need to do.
But like everything in flight, the conditions, the wind and weather are a huge contributing factor. When the wind is too strong, canopy flights and controlled safe landings become very difficult. So what do you do when you can't go skydiving and you love to fly?
So I actually tried paragliding when I was 15, hang gliding when I was 17, gliding at the same age, and then finally I turned 18 and I could sign my own form, and as soon as I found skydiving, I thought, this is it. I've found what I'm looking for. It's the thrill, it's the speed, it's the intensity, it's the challenge, it's the pucker factor, it's all of those things.
Coming up, we meet the swoopers, the canopy flight competitors of the 2017 Australian Parachuting Championships. of the fastest growing disciplines in skydiving is canopy flying. It's exciting in the air and from the ground. And at the 2017 National Parachuting Championships, there is no shortage of rivalry amongst the competitors. Let's meet some of the guys competing. First up, we have Andy Wolf from Wollongong. He jumps out of an aircraft for a living. He's even convinced his mother to jump with him tandem style.
Yeah, the most nervous jump I've probably ever done was take my mum for a jump. That was interesting. The one jump you don't want to screw up.
Andy has a need for speed and a licence to thrill when he's under canopy.
I've got to love speed, to be honest. When you're in your turn, it's something different, it's something else. When you're coming out of that turn and you're flying this far off the ground, you know, that buzz you get from it, yeah, I like it.
Andy's a regular on the Australian team and has finished inside the world top 10. And he's had his fair share of bumps and bruises.
I managed to hit the pond with my leg. And I sort of just like, oh yeah, I'm the new guy.
It's a small price to pay when you love to fly. When Andy's not jumping out of an aircraft, he's flying one.
That way I'm always still in the air, still close to skydiving. Really good feeling. You feel like nothing on the ground really bothers you. You know, just you in a plane, love it.
Next is Ryan Sanders from Perth. He's a professional photographer, offshore rigger and skydive instructor. He's also training for his aircraft pilot's licence. Ryan remembers his first jump well.
As soon as I let go, wow, away we went. And, oh man, it's still to the day the best feeling, like jumping out of the plane, that first step, when you step, like when you get out that door and into the unknown, into the air. It's incredible. So I free fell for about a minute, and then the canopy opened, and I was just ecstatic. I was yelling, I was like, yes! Like screaming, I loved it.
These days, Ryan is fearless. He and his mates have taken canopy flying to the next level. It's called extreme relative work. It's a high-altitude marriage of canopy piloting and wingsuit flying.
It's sort of a pioneering sport at the moment, pushing it in Australia.
If you see me wave you in, just come in nice and tight. Like, talk a little bit what we're going to do on the next one. Like, I might even bring you up on level.
After 6,500 jumps and counting, Ryan now has another challenge.
There we go. Yeah. It's the first time she's smiling for me.
Little Alia is 6 weeks old, and Ryan already has big plans.
Alia, she's doomed. She's going to be a skydiver, she's going to be a pilot, she's going to be a tunnel flyer, she's going to be a kite surfer, she's going to have a fun little life, I think.
The next competitor is Kevin Walters from Perth. He's one of Australia's most successful canopy pilots, winning gold at the 2014 World Championships. But he's not fearless. He has a very healthy and ever-present respect for the sport.
I'm scared. I land after a jump sometimes and my hands are shaking. I think it's about controlling your fear and doing what needs to be done.
Kevin, Ryan and Andy will have to push themselves and their canopies to the limits at the national titles in Western Australia, because this year there's a special guest competitor in their favourite event. Cornelia Mihai from Romania has travelled all the way to outback Western Australia to take on all comers. She's one of the very best canopy pilots in the world and will be extremely difficult to beat. In the past year, Cornelia has won competitions in Italy, France and the US, and she competes against the men.
I don't think it should be separate by gender. I never felt different because we're all canopy pilots. If you're skilled and you have the proper knowledge, you can do it anyway. So I'm proud that I can compete against them and the men and win.
Up next, chocks away and wheels up. It's competition time. The most important event on the Aussie skydiving calendar every year is the National Championships. Along with highlighting the competitive events, the Nationals are about identifying the next generation of talent coming through the sport.
You're going to learn the Nationals is a place to go because this is where the elite skydivers are, and it is a close-knit family, and everyone's more than happy to help out the novices and give them some pointers.
Look, we just love flying together. Stoked to be jumping with these guys. We've got a lot of trust in them, and it's really cool when the crowd goes wild.
At the National Championships, multiple events are held at the same time. 4-way, 8-way formation, skydiving, wingsuit, canopy piloting. It's all happening at the same time. On the ground, there is classic accuracy. It's skydiving, but the canopy descent is slow and precise. The aim is to land on a tiny dot in the middle of an air cushion. The closest to the dot wins.
Yo! 0-2. I'll take that. I'll take that. 0-2.
Back up in the air, the aerial gymnasts are competing in freestyle and free flying. It is graceful and athletic, and it looks like a lot of fun. The routines are captured on video, so a team of judges can assess the performance.
We can't be up there to judge it. As they're falling, there's a camera guy above them filming everything they do. And the camera guy will land, take it to the dubber, they'll go into a computer system, and we'll have a panel of judges who'll view that 3 or 4 times to make sure that it's all perfect and count the scores.
This is Team Running Hot, Archie Jamieson and Alana Bertram.
It's sort of like dancing / gymnastics in the sky, so there's an element of how difficult it is that you get scored on, and also an element on the presentation, which is more the dancing sort of side of it.
As the videographer, Archie videos Alana's performance. It was an outstanding display, and after reviewing the video, the judges agreed. Archie and Alana were awarded the gold. They are now a very good chance of making it to the World Parachuting Championships on the Gold Coast next year.
Now the work really starts. We've got a lot of training to do, another 500 jumps to squeeze in, so it'll be great to get there and represent our country.
Skydiving's ultimate spectator sport has to be the canopy piloting. From the ground, it's as if the pilots appear out of nowhere. Before you know it, they are speeding across the water and through the gates. Australian canopy piloting coach Ronnie Perry gives some last-minute advice to the competitors.
Everything we've been doing in training camp, you've been flying really well and making some good decisions. So we'll keep that trend happening all the way through comp.
The control and precision required to fly at high speed between 2 inflatable gates and skim across the water is extreme. The slightest over or under adjustment will result in a failed run. On top of all of that, there is the wind to contend with. There are 3 different disciplines within canopy piloting. Each competitor has 3 attempts, making up their final score. The first is speed. It all comes down to altitude and timing the rate of descent and the powerful turn on final approach.
Yep, speed is one of the favourite events for all the competitors.
Swoopers come in at an angle through the gates and accelerate through the course as fast as they can. Their speed is measured by radar.
With speed, it's the only event where the ladder touches the ground, but the canopy has to stay in flight. So we call that kiting. So you see the guys that come through and they might land 5-6 metres short of the gate, but as long as the canopy is still flying above their head and they break the beam, they get it.
It's good to get that first round out of the way. It kind of makes you feel like you're doing your first jump all over again, but it's good energy for your body, and looking forward to round 2.
The second canopy piloting event is distance.
Distance is the one that you try to go as far as you can by touching the water just before the entry gate and staying below, you've got a 50-metre bollard, you've got to stay below that, and then you can climb and go as far as you please.
The furthest to land along the course wins. And the last of the three disciplines is zone accuracy. A perfect pass and perfect landing on 2 feet scores 100.
Accuracy is one of the most entertaining ones. Just got to drag their foot through the gate so they can be dragging water as they enter each gate. And they've got to make sure they don't touch any land at all when they're coming off the pond.
Here is up-and-comer Jack Ottaway from Queensland.
Wind was quite strong straight down the pond, just a bit quicker than I thought it was going to be. When I came in, landed at a bit of a funny angle. Well, I actually said to the boys on the plane, you know, before we got out, listen guys, be careful, it is windy down there, don't hurt yourself before comp. But they were all fine, I was the one who did myself an injury.
It was a coccyx landing. All 4 of them. Got some good distance back, bro.
The hard landing has broken Jack's coccyx, his tailbone, and signalled the end of his Nationals campaign. The swoops, the skills and speed are all ingredients for an entertaining contest, but everyone's at the mercy of the weather, and unseasonal wind and cloud keep rolling in, adding unnecessary risk.
When it's good, it's good. Like, we'll crack them out and put on a good show. When it's bad, and we sit around and get bored.
Tomorrow looks better than today, but it's the weather, you never know.
After the break, clear skies and records are broken in a brand new event, speed skydiving. Competition at the 2017 Australian Parachuting Nationals in Western Australia is underway. The event has been marred by days of bad weather and high winds. And today, finally, we head to the skies for competition.
Every time before we jump out of the plane, you know, it's like, have a good one, buddy. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
Happy days.
A clear sunny day has the skydivers full of optimism. And this year, a new event is attracting a lot of attention, speed skydiving. Out to set an Australian record is Tim Collin from Innisfail, Queensland.
So you have a window of altitude, roughly about 8,850 feet to 5,500 feet. And in that window, you have to maintain as maximum vertical speed as you can.
Tim exits and sets into the vertical position. His speed is tracked by GPS. Skydivers in the belly-up position free fall at 200 kilometres per hour. Tim head down, making himself more aerodynamic, reduces wind resistance to gain more speed. The slightest movement at this speed could send him out of control. In a matter of seconds, Tim reaches 460 kilometres per hour. It's a new Australian record.
And then I slow it right down and pretty much slow it all down, catch a big lot of wind, slow me down, and then I can deploy my parachute so it's not going to break my neck when it opens.
Next aboard are the wingsuiters. The flying conditions are perfect and there is a buzz in the air. The boys are expecting more records to be broken today. First to exit is Luke Rogers from Brisbane. He's going for the wingsuit distance record. Luke has 1,000 metres of altitude to travel as far as he can. He is soaring, maintaining his altitude extremely well and surging ahead.
It is literally human flight. There's no separation of control. You know, if you're flying an aircraft, you've got a joystick or a steering wheel or something. But with us, it's actually our body, you know. You spread out your arms and your legs and you literally fly as if you would in a dream.
Luke sets an Australian distance record, travelling 4.7 kilometres overall. Next wingsuiter to go is Chris Burns from Brisbane.
G'day, my name's Chris Burns. My favourite colour's green, and I'm going long.
Chris is competing in the wingsuit speed category. His goal is to fly as fast as possible horizontally over the ground. And it's an outstanding result. Chris smashes the Aussie wingsuit speed record and creates an unofficial world record, flying at just under 319 kilometres per hour. Back on board and ready to exit are the Canopy Pilots. But before it's time to go, the all-important fist pump.
Some people like to be loud and some people just like to keep to themselves. But generally, we're all buzzing when we take off. It's game on kind of feeling.
When the aircraft door opens, swoopers must have a visual of the airfield for the jump run to begin. That's the York drop zone just outside the door.
What they do is they poke their head out and make sure they're over the spot that they want to be at, and then approaching that sort of the predetermined spot, we'll give them the green light, and they slowly but surely roll out.
Lee McCormack, a professional skydiver from Melbourne, is next out. But as soon as he pitches, he knows something is seriously wrong.
I looked up and there was some twisted in the lines before the bag even opened. Then when the canopy opened, it started diving and I just couldn't get out of it, so had to cut away and get the reserve out.
Lee's got a walk in front of him and his competition is put on hold until he finds his main canopy.
As soon as I find that, I can go back and pack the reserve and hopefully be back up in the air within the hour.
Lee will have plenty of time to sort his gear because stronger than forecast winds are playing havoc with the competition schedule.
You're keen to jump, you're mentally prepared and you're ready to go, but then you just can't. So it's been a real frustrating day.
Son of a bitch.
Hold on, Paul. You right, Robbie?
Ah! It's tough. All competitors fall victim to a messy combination of swirling crosswinds and headwinds. It's especially tough going for zone accuracy.
Wrecked that one.
A little bit deep on the setup, ran out of steam, so just made it out of the water. A little bit wet, a little bit dirty. But that's what it's all about, having fun, yeah?
The weather improves later in the day and standout performances come in the distance discipline. It's a treat to see the swoopers arch their backs, stretching out for maximum distance.
When you're swooping, you're sort of trying to drag a gate a metre longer. As you're coming down to the ground, you pull out at the last second, so it's scary, it's exciting.
I haven't had the best comp, but I'm super stoked with that.
One last canopy run into the setting sun wraps a big week of skydiving in York for the 2017 Nationals.
Yeah, they've done really well. And the weather and the wind hasn't been completely kind to us, but we've kind of done what we can do.
International guest Cornelia Mihai continues her domination of canopy piloting, taking out overall gold. Of the Aussies, West Australian Mark Silliphant wins open gold for accuracy. Victorian Darren Griggs wins for speed, and Brad Jones from New South Wales wins for distance, and he's crowned as national champion. The Australian swooping team will now prepare for the World Games in Poland. So Andy, Kevy and Robbie, we wish you all the best. For the other national champions, next year's World Parachuting Championships on the Gold Coast is on the horizon. Make sure you look out for that. If you'd like to get into skydiving, head to the Australian Parachute Federation website and visit your local drop zone. The Australian Parachute Federation would love to welcome you into the skydiving family.
It's not the feeling of the high when you're flying around, it's the friends that you find when you're coming down.